Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we are strapping in for a truly wild ride.
Oh, yeah.
We're going straight into the heart of Utah's mommy influencer culture, which is this multi-billion-dollar industry. It's where, these highly curated, faith-based TikToks just clash spectacularly with some extreme reality TV drama.
A total collision.
It turned this, local scandal into a global thing.
hmm
So we are unpacking the MomTok scandal that went absolutely nuclear, the one that launched Hulu's massive hit, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Right.
You might think you know the story from the headlines, but trust me, we're going deep into the institutional pressure, the hypocrisy, and just the chaos that fuels this whole ecosystem.
In the show, really, its whole genesis was this cultural earthquake back in 2022, the Utah soft swinging scandal. And this wasn't just, local gossip in the LDS community. It captivated all of MomTok. It went viral immediately, and it just set this perfect high-stakes stage for the reality series.
So what we're watching on screen is really just the aftermath of that digital implosion.
Exactly. But the conflict is still so deeper cultural. It's about how these women, whose entire brand is family and faith, try to navigate this extremely conservative religious life, all while under the magnifying glass of sudden, intense influencer fame.
Okay, so our mission today is pretty precise. We need to cut through all the confusion. We're going to define what soft swinging actually meant to this specific group.
And you'll see that definition was highly debated, very fluid.
Ahmed. We'll also explore the just crushing cultural pressures in Mormon life in Utah that created this boiling point.
Right.
And finally, we will meticulously detail the specific, often shocking, and sometimes really tragic scandals of the core cast. We're talking Taylor Frankie Paul, Miranda McWhorter, Jen Affleck, and Whitney Levitt.
Yeah.
So prepare yourself. The reality here is far messier and way more revealing than the TikTok dances and those perfectly clean kitchens suggest.
To really get the show, you have to meet the cast and understand the gravity of their platform. The series has 8 main women.
Jen Affleck, Demi Engman, Whitney Levitt, Michaela Matthews.
Mechi Neely, Jessie Nakatara, Taylor Frankie Paul, and Layla Taylor. And they're all these highly successful parts of this enormous Utah MomTok influencer world.
It's a place where family, faith, and consumerism just completely merge. Right?
Totally. And get this, between the 8 of them, they have 19 children.
19.
Which just immediately tells you the kind of high-pressure domestic environment they're all operating in.
Yeah, and while all 8 are central to the show's story, the person who really lit the match, the absolute center of that viral explosion, was Taylor Frankie Paul.
No question. She was, without a doubt, the most famous. She was the one who had really leveraged that perfect Mormon mom look into a massive TikTok following. She was the engine.
So how did the scandal actually start?
It all kicked off in the spring of 2022. Taylor disclosed, pretty openly and shockingly to her millions of followers, that she was getting a divorce from her husband, Tate Paul.
Okay, a divorce is one thing, but that wasn't the bomb, was it?
Not at all. The real fire was the reason for the divorce. She revealed that during their marriage, she and Tate had participated in soft swinging.
And that was the catalyst.
That changed everything. It got the attention of millions across social media, and it provided this perfect or maybe disastrous foundation for Hulu to build the whole docufollow series on.
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Exactly. The sheer size of the reaction just proved this wasn't just personal drama. It was a crack in the facade of an entire culture.
It really says a lot about the community they live in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just admitting to a private marital arrangement, even one is, out there as swinging, could become a global news story.
It's an incredibly insular, high-control environment.
And that clash between their private behavior and the public fallout brings us to this really critical cultural idea, the whole Jack Mormon label.
This is probably the single most crucial piece of context you need to understand the show. A Jack Mormon is a term. It's often used informally, sometimes disparagingly. For people who consider themselves part of the religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but who don't strictly follow all the key rules, especially the behavioral ones from the Word of Wisdom.
So, avoiding alcohol or coffee, wearing the temple garments all the time, or, traditional monogamy.
Precisely.
But if they aren't strictly following the rules, why not just leave the church? Is the Jack Mormon thing less about actual faith and more about, market optics?
That's the essential insight.
Are they using that conservative image for clicks and trust within this really lucrative Utah influencing market?
Yes. That's it. These behaviors, like drinking or having coffee, they're often private rebellions. But publicly, keeping that cultural affiliation is everything for their careers as influencers.
Their audience expects it.
Exactly. Their target audience, especially in Utah, is looking for family-friendly, morally acceptable content. And that LDS affiliation gives them this massive amount of trust and market access. If they just ditched the label entirely, they'd risk alienating their base.
So the money and the fame. It all depends on keeping up the image of this conservative, devout, religious life.
The professional trad wife persona, as some have called it.
They need that perceived moral scaffolding for their brands to actually work.
Right, and the whole tension of the show is perfectly captured in that label. These women are trying to uphold this high-control image of a devout life while also engaging in very modern, often rebellious social pressures and influencer stuff that actively defies those doctrines.
It's a systemic struggle. Outward monetized perfection versus internal explosive chaos.
Their scandals aren't random. They're the consequence of trying to hold two fundamentally incompatible lives together for the sake of their bank accounts and their social standing.
Okay, so let's get into the central term. The whole scandal really revolves around this phrase that seems almost intentionally vague, right? Soft swinging.
It feels designed to allow for plausible deniability, for sure.
So when Taylor first talked about her arrangement with Tate, she defined it as romantic intimacy with other partners without going all the way. But in a community where even coffee is forbidden, and there are intense rules about how far you can go with your own spouse, what on earth did they define as all the way?
Well, the definitions were definitely fluid. And that's exactly why the drama blew up so fast, especially between Taylor and her former best friend, Miranda McWhorter.
Who was also allegedly one of the co-swingers.
Yes, and Miranda immediately tried to minimize her involvement in public, probably to protect her brand and her marriage.
Right, I remember this. Miranda's version was almost comically sanitized. She claimed the height of her involvement was just playing spin the bottle and kissing other people.
And she was emphatic. She insisted no one ever had sex, period.
Which made her situation with Taylor so volatile. Because, like Jesse said, Miranda found it very jarring that Taylor was telling the public the exact opposite story.
Implying it was way more intense.
Yeah, and this is where Taylor just escalated everything and gave the explicit details that turned this viral moment into, an enduring scandal about massive betrayal.
When they finally spoke one-on-one, Taylor just immediately challenged Miranda's very watered-down definition of a hookup.
She said it was way more than kissing.
Way more. According to Taylor, they did everything that Love Island does, plus a little more.
Which is a pretty clear implication. If Love Island is the bar for televised public sexual tension, they blew past it.
Oh, yeah. And then in her confessional interviews, she gave this shocking, detailed list of activities that just completely destroyed any chaste line Miranda was trying to draw.
This is where the shock value really hits, because it exposes the level of secrecy.
Taylor stated clearly that explicit things happened, which made Miranda's initial claims totally fall apart. She described in graphic detail that they did, in fact, have sex in the shower with their husbands all together.
Wow.
And on top of that, she said they also had sex in the same bed at the same time.
Okay, hold on. I need to pause on the same bed at the same time thing, because even in that chaos, there was this weird twisted boundary, wasn't there?
There was. Taylor later clarified that when she said that, it was still with their own husbands present, not with partners outside the main relationship.
But, and this is the key, she said they were worried about getting pregnant by the wrong guy.
Right.
Which implies that partner swapping was absolutely on the table and happening in very close proximity. The line they drew, the all the way, was specifically penetration.
That concern about accidental pregnancy just confirms the whole structure of their soft-swinging loophole. It was basically everything except penetration.
A definition that still covers a massive amount of sexual intimacy, exhibitionism, and partner involvement.
It's a loophole designed to satisfy intense sexual curiosity while technically avoiding the ultimate betrayal, a physical connection that could result in a child.
But her list of shattered boundaries kept going. It really exposed the voyeuristic, game-like nature of it all.
It did. Taylor detailed how they'd play these sexual games, like being blindfolded and having to guess which husband you were kissing.
That's not simple sex. That's performative, boundary-pushing behavior that the men were clearly into.
Oh, for sure. And the disturbing peak of the exhibitionism was this one night where Taylor said 4 of the wives, including her and Miranda, dressed up in short shorts for their husbands.
And what happened?
Taylor detailed it. They were so drunk we were making out and we were on top of each other, and they all filmed it on their phones.
That is not just kissing.
Yeah.
That is planned, aggressive exhibitionism for drunk men.
It's a highly controlled, highly sexualized environment. And the power dynamic shifts the second the men become the audience and the ones filming.
So when the producers finally read Taylor's full list of claims to Miranda,
her denial it collapsed. Her hard line completely broke. She finally conceded the full truth. I mean, Taylor's not wrong.
and that concession basically closed the case. It confirmed how severe the behavior really was.
Mm.
And the consequences of this lifestyle were just catastrophic, not just for Taylor.
No, not at all.
It wasn't a small thing. The sources say many other Mormon couples, at least 4 couples in total, were involved in this.
And the really grim statistic that proves how their idealized lives just dissolved.
Every single couple involved in the swinging activities is now divorced.
Every single one. That statistic is the real takeaway here. It shows that the environment they created, built on secrecy and sexual loopholes and emotional detachment, is just fundamentally unsustainable.
And the emotional fallout was deep, too. The drama got worse because Miranda's ex-husband, Chase, eventually said he had feelings for Taylor.
Right, and Taylor admitted to him she had a sex dream about him. Chase then publicly and very crassly denied having fucked Taylor.
He was trying to keep his own moral high ground.
Of course. But Taylor did apologize to Miranda for not being upfront about Chase's advances, even while she denied the rumor that she stole her best friend's husband.
It's just a complex web of infidelity and betrayal. It proves that once the sexual boundaries dissolved, the friendships and marriages were right behind.
We're doomed.
So, as chaotic and, frankly, self-destructive as the women's behavior is, a lot of critics and viewers point out that the real systemic enemy in this story seems to be the husbands.
The patriarchal and highly controlling nature of the husbands, yeah.
It's seen as a direct reflection of broader critiques of LDS culture, where women are often raised to serve their husbands and treat them almost as if they are godlike.
It suggests their very public, often chaotic rebellion is a logical reaction to deep institutional repression.
And that patriarchal pressure is most clearly and disturbingly shown through the story of Jen Affleck and her husband, Zach.
Oh, absolutely. Jen was immediately so vulnerable on camera. She was tearfully afraid for her marriage because Zach just flat out threatened to divorce her if she participated in events the group considered fun and innocent.
The control was palpable. He basically gave her an ultimatum: the group or your marriage.
A perfect example was him forbidding her from going to a Chippendales show with the other women.
But the truly explosive part, the hypocrisy that had viewers absolutely enraged, was Zach's behavior with Jen's money. He's admonishing her for disobeying Mormon doctrine by going to these social events, keeping up this front of moral superiority.
While at the same time engaging in highly irresponsible and non-Mormon behavior himself. Pathological gambling.
And this wasn't like small stakes gambling. It was an assault on their future. The sources say he gambled away Jen's money, including at least $300,000.
And that was his estimated medical school tuition.
Just think about the magnitude of that betrayal. He's yelling at her for watching a male strip show, which is a doctrinal transgression, while he's squandering $250,000 for his professional future.
The audience outrage was volcanic.
I bet. Viewers pointed out the profound unfairness of it all. Jen, like a lot of these women, was the one bringing in significant income through influencing. That's what often funds a family's lifestyle.
Right.
Yet, the husband maintains the moral authority and the financial control. He feels entitled to lecture her on morality while destroying the capital she earned.
It reveals a deep structural imbalance where the women do the labor and the men keep the ideological control.
And his control didn't stop with money. It became a severe isolation tactic.
Yeah, he forced Jen to leave the group, claiming the group was isolating her.
Which is a classic manipulator's move.
Exactly. Her resignation from the group was heartbreaking because she's openly questioning how she could know this level of control wouldn't happen in a future marriage.
It suggests this terrifying, deep-seated belief that controlling behavior was just the default setting for relationships in her community.
Yeah.
And the other women reacted strongly to this emotional abuse, right?
Oh, they did. Demi and Jesse, seeing Zach's toxic behavior, went so far as to demand Jen divorce him. They were trying to intervene to free their friend from what they correctly saw as a truly destructive marriage.
But that intervention had the opposite effect on Zach.
It did.
Oh.
He retaliated by moving Jen out of state. He took her from her support system in Utah all the way to New York City, specifically to distance her from the group's influence and their, liberating ideas.
It was an extreme measure to get total control back.
Mm.
Okay, moving on to another husband in the spotlight. We have Connor Leavitt, Whitney Leavitt's husband. His storyline was heavily focused on his very real addiction issues.
Yeah, but the drama around them quickly escalated into this really explicit fan speculation about their sex life.
Which was triggered by them trying to perform normalcy on camera.
Right. The focus shifted dramatically when Whitney mentioned that their sex life had improved a lot after they added toys, saying it helped them reconnect.
And that immediately fueled these very specific and intrusive fan theories.
Mm-hmm. Including detailed speculation about butt play or Whitney pegging him. These theories came up because the couple struggled so much to connect on camera. The fan base just assumed their very constrained outward presentation meant there had to be a secret, extreme release valve.
And the speculation didn't just stop at their marriage. Given the context of Utah's intense repressed sexuality, there was open talk that Connor might be closeted.
With some sources even suggesting he might be on apps like Grindr or Tinder.
And that speculation just comes from his general demeanor and his perceived struggle within that conservative marriage structure.
It all feeds into this idea that Utah's strict rules lead to these highly sexualized, secretive, underground subcultures, forcing people to live double lives to reconcile who they are with their doctrine.
This deep repression and patriarchal control really brings us to this common thread that a lot of viewers and critics noted: the age and development gap.
Right. The observation is that many of these women seem extremely young for their ages, socialization-wise.
They married very young, often straight out of high school, and were immediately thrown into domestic life and motherhood.
Remember, 19 children between the 8 of them. They never got the chance to fully develop their own identities outside of that high-control religious world.
So what we're watching on screen isn't just adult infidelity or divorce. It's a chaotic, delayed rebellion that looks a lot like teenage acting out.
But it's happening to women in their late 20s and early 30s. They're finding their voice and agency, however destructively, in the most public forum possible.
And Whitney Leavitt quickly became a lightning rod for this rebellious chaos. She was often seen by the group and the internet as the villain.
She got viral notoriety even before the show because of the infamous RSV scandal.
Ugh, that moment. It perfectly captures the collision of influencer vanity and real-world tragedy.
It was truly stunning in its lack of self-awareness. Whitney filmed and performed a TikTok dance right next to her baby, who was intubated and hooked up to oxygen in a hospital bed after getting RSV.
And when millions of people called her out, she doubled down. She defended it by saying she was trying to make herself feel better.
The ultimate narcissistic display, using her child's severe illness as a backdrop for her own performance and self-soothing. She was widely criticized as narcissistic and self-obsessed.
Viewers said she only seemed capable of seeing herself even when her child was in critical condition. It just shows how that influencer persona can completely override a genuine emotional response. But her rebellion also crossed financial and moral lines in her search for validation, right?
Oh, yeah. She entertained a deal to promote a vibrator for $20,000.
For a woman raised in a conservative anti-sex toy culture, that's shocking.
And yet she claims she felt it was empowering, taking back control of her sexuality by monetizing it. It just shows the willingness to exploit the very taboos imposed by their culture for profit and external validation.
And within the group, Whitney was often accused of being deeply jealous and competitive, especially with Taylor.
Yeah, her competitive streak and self-focus led to this huge dinner meltdown. She ended up dramatically leaving the group chat and blocking the other women on social media.
Like a classic immature high school feud.
Totally. It just highlighted how fragile their friendships were when their public personas clashed.
And finally, we have to go back to Taylor's personal journey, which ended in a very serious, deeply disturbing incident: her arrest.
This happened on Valentine's Day, and it followed a period of intense emotional distress. She had had 2 recent miscarriages, one ectopic, one chemical.
Which Taylor said left her with raging hormones and anger.
The scene itself was just surreal. It was almost like performance art gone horribly wrong. The theme for her girls' night was dress as your ex.
So Taylor was disturbingly dressed up as her ex-husband, Tate, with fake facial hair, clearly struggling to process everything.
She got drunk and became the aggressor against her then-boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen.
Okay, let's be explicit about the police report details here. The report indicated an extreme level of volatility.
Yeah.
Taylor admitted she was 100% the aggressor. And the report detailed that when she missed hitting Dakota, she ended up hitting her toddler in the head with a metal stool. That's not reality TV drama or a relationship fight. That is a tragedy rooted in an immense emotional breakdown.
That's a devastating detail. And after the arrest, she immediately committed to sobriety, recognizing how deep her self-destructive behavior had gone.
And now she relies on energy drinks instead of alcohol to cope.
Right. But here's where the dark context of the swinging scandal ties back into Taylor's current pain and her self-punishment narrative. Taylor later revealed this dark wrinkle from her past. She was blacked out when she hooked up with one of the swinging husbands, husband B, and doesn't remember most of the encounter.
Wow.
This is a crucial, dark context point. The implication is that this may have been sexual assault, or at least a highly non-consensual encounter because she was blacked out.
Which then became the reason her husband divorced her.
Yes. And she said that she now sees her subsequent pain, the arrest, the volatility with Dakota as karma for her actions in the swinging arrangement.
She feels stuck in 2022 and believes she deserves the pain she's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That internal narrative that she's being punished for her past transgression, it just shows the immense psychological damage that purity culture inflicts. Even when she might be the victim of non-consensual acts, she internalizes the pain as deserved punishment for crossing the line.
Exactly. And that psychological need to maintain an image of purity while living in this high-control environment leads directly to this widespread culture of loopholes, or religious hoops, as some call them.
Especially around repressed sexuality and common vices. These aren't just workarounds. They're intellectual gymnastics designed to satisfy desire while maintaining the letter of the law.
Mm-hmm.
The most visible, almost comical example of this for a general audience is the obsession with customized, dirty sodas from places like Swig and Thirst in Utah.
Right. People outside Utah might wonder why this is such a big deal, but it highlights exactly how the community navigates the word of wisdom.
The word of wisdom bans wine, strong drink, tobacco, and hot drinks, which is interpreted as coffee and tea.
But crucially, caffeine is not explicitly banned in the doctrine.
And that vacuum allows for this cultural phenomenon of sugar-heavy, customized soda consumption. Dr. Pepper, with syrups, creams, all these exotic flavors, to become this socially acceptable vice.
It's a way to participate in a social ritual that feels a little rebellious and satisfying without actually breaking the rules.
It really makes you wonder how much intellectual energy is wasted trying to find a spiritual workaround for basic human desire.
It's a fascinating reflection on human nature. And when it comes to sexuality, the loophole culture gets even more explicit and absurd.
It's often discussed in whispers, but it's widely understood.
Mm-hmm. There's a widely discussed fan theory known as soaking. This involves insertion without movement,
which technically circumvents the rule against premarital sex because penetration without friction doesn't count as sex.
Right, and then you get the ridiculous escalation of the myth, the bouncing concept.
Yeah.
Where other people supposedly jump on the bed to create friction.
So you're circumventing the rule against self-movement during insertion.
It sounds absurd, but it emphasizes the sheer extent of boundary testing in the community. Taylor admitted soaking is real, but she said she'd never heard of the jumping on the bed part.
But whether these exact methods are practiced by the women on the show or not, the fact that these extreme workarounds are even discussed so widely just emphasizes the psychological lengths people are forced to go to. Okay, moving into the information warfare part of this. The group's drama often leaked or was revealed through these organized social media things like the Dakota Affair cliffhanger.
Which was brought to us by Maishi Neely through her viral social media trend, Sinner Sunday.
Right.
Maishi's role became really instrumental in the story. Sinner Sunday was a platform where followers could anonymously confess their sins. And a follower used it to confess she had accidentally slept with Dakota Mortensen, Taylor's new boyfriend, before she knew they were together.
And the follower, Jenna, was someone Taylor knew.
Mm-hmm. Maishi came clean to Taylor about this devastating secret on camera.
And the season ended on a classic high-stakes reality TV cliffhanger, with Taylor asking Maishi to follow up with Jenna to get more information.
She demanded to know the full truth. Dakota eventually confessed everything, confirming the infidelity.
But Taylor saw this new betrayal, the pain Dakota caused her, as just more karma for her past actions in the swinging scandal. She used public betrayal as a lens for her own tragic self-punishment narrative.
And finally, we saw the Season 3 mole drama involving Jesse and Gatakara.
Okay.
This drama was all about Jesse's emotional affair while she was separated from her husband. The problem was that Demi Engman, who had been iced out of the main MomTok group, somehow heard all the intimate details of Jesse's situation.
which led the other women to spiral, trying to find the leak, the mole who was sharing secrets with the ostracized Demi.
Right, and Miranda McWhorter was quickly scapegoated as the mole, partly because she'd stayed friends with both Demi and Whitney, who were both out of the main group.
But Miranda later clarified that the drama was real, but she wasn't the leak. She said she hadn't even known about Jesse's affair when it was happening.
Exactly. Instead of pointing to one person, Miranda gave this really crucial analysis of the environment itself.
What'd she say?
She pointed to the inevitability of secrets leaking in such a tight, chatty, and highly interconnected circle. She confirmed that big secrets are just impossible to keep when there's circulating talk within the group.
So the information didn't get to Demi through one deliberate informant.
It reached her through the general swirl of conversations. It just proves that in that environment, secrecy is a complete myth.
So despite all the high drama, the controversy, and the often toxic internal dynamics, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has been a huge success.
A massive success. The show was called Hulu's most watched unscripted premiere of 2024.
Which shows that audiences are clearly hooked on this kind of cultural explosion. It even got a Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Unstructured Reality Program.
Which proves its blend of low-culture subjects and high-stakes drama is resonating with critics and viewers.
And critics have praised the show for successfully blending elements of Gossip Girl, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and Mean Girls.
It's a compelling, high-drama viewing experience that keeps you glued.
But the show is being praised for something deeper than just typical reality TV drag, isn't it?
It is. Critics noted that the series goes beyond gossip by focusing on the profound theme of religious conflict. Specifically, Mormon women trying to balance their traditional conservative faith with modern 21st century values and the demands of digital celebrity.
It's an honest, if chaotic, depiction of Mormon women confronting these immense societal expectations. Things like candid portrayals of sex, divorce, and emotional abuse that you just rarely see on TV.
It holds up a mirror to the pressure cooker they live in. And inevitably, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had to issue a statement before the series came out.
How did the church handle the PR fallout of having their culture spotlighted by a group of highly scandalous influencers?
Their response was very measured, very diplomatic, and generalized. They noted that some portrayals in the entertainment industry resort to stereotypes or gross misrepresentations and depict lifestyles blatantly inconsistent with the teachings of the church.
So by using that generalized language, some portrayals, the church managed to distance itself from the specific chaos and the individual women without fueling the fire.
Exactly. They reinforced the doctrine while just acknowledging the media attention.
So the church acknowledged the media presence while keeping its distance, reinforcing that the chaotic lies on TV are inconsistent with their doctrine. But as viewers, we see the profound cultural conflict driving this behavior.
Which just confirms the critics' focus on that deeper theme. Ultimately, the show is a powerful lens into the consequences of a high-pressure conservative environment suddenly colliding with the unfiltered, validating, and monetizing world of digital celebrity.
A total cautionary tale for any community that requires absolute outward perfection.
Yeah.
This deep dive into these extreme scandals, from soft swinging and potential non-consensual encounters to marital abuse, $300,000 gambling losses, and public narcissism, it just highlights the immense pressure cooker created by a high-control religious and social environment.
Especially when financial success is tied to maintaining a perfect persona.
So the final analysis really focuses on this phenomenon of delayed rebellion.
Entirely. These women, married young within a restrictive culture, are now finding their personal agency, however messy or chaotic and publicly destructive that process is, in a very public forum through social media and reality TV.
So what looks to outsiders as just scandalous acts might really be understood as a direct and often tragic reaction to suffocating control and purity culture.
I think so.
It makes you wonder what cultural pressures today might lead to similarly explosive televised rebellions years from now. We've seen the consequences of purity culture mixed with sudden digital fame in Utah. How does the quest to be the professional trad wife, the woman whose whole career and income depends on performing perfect domesticity, how does that inevitably lead to this dramatic, very public downfall?
It's a great question.
The minute that image cracks, the whole foundation just collapses.
It's a fascinating and universal question, isn't it? The audience consumes the hypocrisy and the downfall with the same intense interest they had for the curated perfection, if not more so. The system demands perfection, but human nature eventually rebels.
And when it does, it needs a stage.
And in 2024, that stage is reality television. It raises the question, what is the next highly restrictive, image-focused social group that will inevitably break under the weight of its own carefully constructed rules? Something for all of us to watch closely.